Okay, this is going to be kind of weird for me, being public on YouTube about such private stuff. But it's worth it to maybe get at least one girl to stop using this product. It is the Mirena IUD. It's a little birth control, tiny little birth control that they implant inside of you, and it lasts for 5 years. And I heard that, and I got it whenever it was just before I turned 19, so I was 18. It's like a week or two before. And my doctor had told me about it. First off, I love this doctor. I was named after her, Rebecca. It came from her. She was a really good family friend. She's now working, helping the women in Africa. So she's really awesome. But she didn't know about it either at that time. Not many women had spoken out about it, and now they're starting to have a lot more that speak out about it. And I had it implanted. It hurt like a bitch. Excuse my French there. And I thought, oh God, what did I just do to myself? But over time, I cramped a lot afterwards too. But sorry for the squeaking. I keep spinning. Okay, I'll stop. And I had cramped a lot. I bled. But after about a week, it went away. And I had one appointment to get it put in, probably a week before I did. Except I was sick with a cold, like a minor little cold, didn't think it was any big deal. And I went to her and she said, just come back in like a week whenever you're feeling better. I was like, okay, no big deal. Got over it really fast, went back in, got it put in. And whenever I went there the first time, she tested me for strep throat, which found out came back negative, so it wasn't strep whatever I had. I just thought it was just a cold. And I came back in whenever I felt better and got it put in. And then about a few days, I don't remember exactly, a few days to a week after, I started getting really, really sick. And everybody thought it was just me relapsing. Like if I had a cold or flu or something, that I just started relapsing. My dad's a doctor, he's a family physician, so he didn't think it was any big deal, but he doesn't think anything we do is a big deal. Me or my mom can break our arm and he'll be like, oh, you're fine. I love my dad though. And time went on, I went to a little place called Care Now, and they tested me for strep, came back negative. I'm like, it's not strep. I've never had strep in my life. And then he tested my blood, and it came back negative too for strep. And so I just thought it was a flu. It was the flu. I guess it could be a flu. And then I took a couple weeks off, rested. This was my summer after being back from freshman year at college, by the way. So it was my summer before sophomore year of college. And I just kept getting worse. And I remember it was the night before the Mavericks won the championships. Oh yeah, because I live in Dallas. And I was just too sick. I couldn't drink. My tonsils were huge, ginormous, and they were just, sorry, it's going to be gross, they were just covered in white stuff. Like you would if you had strep, but I didn't have strep. And they took me in to see my doctor, which is also a family friend, another doctor, an internist. And he tested my vitals, and then he was like, okay, you need to go into the hospital because you're dehydrated. And I couldn't sit up without passing out and falling over. I would just get so dizzy. And so I got into the hospital within those few hours. It takes forever. And I was just in so much pain. My legs were just aching. My whole body was aching, mostly my legs. I even got desperate enough. I Googled how to help leg cramps whenever I was still at home. And we said putting a bar of soap under your sheets. Tried that. It doesn't work. Who would have thought? But I was in the hospital. They gave me an IV, of course, and they gave me an IV of pain medicine that was some over-the-counter stuff, just extra, and it did nothing. And so they gave me some narcotic, and of course that helped. And for once they put it in, I could just feel my entire head just drain, and my body was just out of pain, and I felt so much better for the first time in a month. And I was in the hospital. They kept me there until my tonsils were back to normal a little, and I could actually swallow water without it just feeling like swallowing knives. And I have a pretty high pain tolerance. I played soccer since I could walk. And I played club soccer, which is where you pay to play. You have to be good enough to get on the team. And high school soccer. And I would never even have to take Advil or Tylenol or anything for any cuts or bruises. I never was really had a pain tolerance, or I did have a pain tolerance. But this was just awful. Ugh, my tonsils and my body just hurt so bad. And also, you know, your tonsils are like right here. You have lymph nodes that go on the side of your neck that you normally can't feel. Mine, especially on my right side, was like the size of a marble. It was just sticking out of my neck. I have pictures on my phone because I thought I was like had aliens growing inside me practically. I'm just kidding. Don't think I'm stupid, please. But I just never experienced a giant marble inside my neck. And I was in the hospital for a week. I was on antibiotics, even though I didn't test positive for a bacterial infection, but they just wanted to make sure I didn't develop one. And they started testing me to see what I had. And they tested for like the flu. It was negative. And cold, all other types of stuff. And I had mono whenever I was in 8th grade. Got it from drinking after people at soccer camp, thank you. And so they say you can only get mono once. And I had to have like my spleen sonogrammed and everything to make sure it wasn't swollen so I could go back to playing soccer back in 8th grade. And whenever, like the 3rd or 4th day in the hospital, they came back and said that it was mono. It was kind of weird it took that long for it to come back as mono, because I had been sick for like a month before that, and then it took 4 days of being in the hospital for the test results to show it was mono. Which, by the way, is so much fun. Like 4 times a day I would have gallons of blood drawn from me. Again, not gallons. I'm being sarcastic, but it was a lot of blood. I'm not squirmish. I just bruised really easily, and I just bruised all of my arm and my backs of my hands because eventually they could stop getting blood out of the one vein. So they said it was mono, and I was like, weird, but okay. At least I know I'll get better. I've had it before. Even though the first time I had it, I didn't have any symptoms. I was just really, really tired, I guess. That's all I can remember having. And got out of the hospital, got home, still felt like complete shit. And I wasn't on narcotics, but something pretty close. Something called tramadol. My mom hated me being on it. And I was on the max dose a day, 8 tablets a day. That's a max dose, and I didn't even take Tylenol or Advil before, so that was new. And I was still on some antibiotics at the time. But I still had that awful pain once I was off the IV in the hospital. My tonsils were still swollen. And it never did it cross our mind that it was Mirena, because we thought it was mono. The doctors know I just got it implanted or placed or whatever. And they didn't even think it was mono either. And I had one doctor at the hospital, infectious disease doctor, and I went to see him like for the first month after being out of the hospital. And I told him how I hadn't been better, and he was like, oh, it's just you recovering. Here's some steroids to help the inflammation. Yeah, steroids helping inflammation? I seriously went like, oh my god, I hate steroids so much. They make you store water like a camel. Only the hump's not on your back, it's all over your body. Okay. And so my mom was like, no, it didn't even help me. So I stopped seeing him and my dad. My internist, he had me go see a rheumatologist or something of the matter. I don't remember their names exactly. I've seen so many doctors. Basically, he treated for types of, oh no, I can't think of the name. Arthritis, there you go. Types of arthritis. I had a spinal MRI, the test for developing arthritis in my back. All came back normal. And he also mentioned about fibromyalgia, but didn't think it was it because it wasn't really in my joints. And fibromyalgia is more in your joints. And then I went to see a neurologist who did the little, I think technically tested for muscular dystrophy. Little needles put in and they shock you and stuff everywhere. I'm not really scared of needles, so it didn't bother me. The shocking's more what freaked me out a little. And everything came back fine. And he also had an MRI sent in for my head, for my brain, the test for MS. I heard that. I was like, you're kidding me, right? Came back negative, though, at least. And then I went to see another doctor. I didn't even mention half of them at this point. And she tested for MS in my spine, because it can develop in both places. Came back negative. She mentioned having a spinal tap done, the test for MS. I was like, no. We have no history of having MS in our family. So I didn't think it was MS, and plus everything else came back negative. And also I would have strange feelings of numbness. Like, half my face would be numb. That was really weird. And then my arm, and then one night I thought something was really wrong. My leg was just numb, my entire left leg. I couldn't even walk without falling over practically. So that's why they thought it was MS, because MS, you develop numbness of your limbs a lot. And then my dad got me in to see the head of infectious diseases at the Southwestern Medical School in Dallas, which is one of the best medical schools in Texas, maybe even in the South. That's where my dad went as a doctor. And the guy I saw was one of his professors, really old guy, really nice. And he eventually mentioned that what I had was probably chronic fatigue, because I was insanely tired as well all the time. Like, I would lay in bed all during the day. I had no energy to get up and do stuff. You can ask my friends. Some of them I haven't seen in like 6 months or longer. I feel really bad, but I just had no energy. None. I felt like I was 80 years old, and I was only like 19 then, 19 or 20. And he diagnosed me with chronic fatigue, which sounds like, oh, chronic fatigue, I have chronic fatigue. They haven't exactly made up a test to show that you're positive for it, but they do really believe that it is actual virus. Especially whenever you have mono, it seems to make the virus active if it's already in your body. So since they thought I was really, really sick with mono, that was probably what I had. The cure for that? Nothing, of course. Just pacing yourself and eventually working out and working through it, because they said working out would help in the long run. Whenever I tried the workout, I used to be very active. I would try the workout. I just wanted to fall over and just pass out and just go to sleep. And my pain would just get 500 times worse if I tried working out. There's just no willpower. I just didn't feel like myself at all. At least I didn't gain weight on it. I actually lost weight because freshman year of college, of course, yeah, freshman 15. But I did lose weight on Mirena, mostly just because my appetite was gone, especially near the end of it. And so he said chronic fatigue, but my mom wouldn't take that as an answer. Of course, being a mom, she had to know my daughter can't be sick with this and not have a cure for it. And so she just kept scheduling me to see more doctors and more doctors and more doctors. And she would wonder why I wouldn't be all enthusiastic about going to see a new doctor. I'm like, Mom, I'm 19 years old and I've seen like 10 doctors the past year. I'm okay. I'm just going to try and deal with this best I can. And I don't know what the next one was, but the last doctor I'd seen was a famous, one of Dallas's best rated pain doctors, pain management doctors. And he said my symptoms did resemble fibromyalgia, but it wasn't quite on the dot, so they couldn't exactly diagnose me with fibromyalgia. Even though it was almost exactly what I had. It was just because it wasn't in my joints, which half the time it was in my joints, but most of the time it was in my legs. And also in the lower limbs of my arms, like here. And my back, it started getting in my really, really bad in the lower back the last 6 months that I was on Mirena. And he eventually took over my pain medicine prescription, still did the same. And then they started trying me on stuff to help my energy levels so I could actually want to do things and get up and do things. They had me on something called Provigil and Nuvigil, but my insurance wouldn't cover it, and it was like $300 to get it filled. Yeah, no. So they eventually put me on Adderall. So I was on an amphetamine and practically narcotics. And I was only 19, 20. It made me really, really depressed to think that I would have to live with this for the rest of my life. That I would have to be dependent on medicine the rest of my life and feel like shit the rest of my life. I had to drop out of college and live at home and go to community college, which for me was not very good since my parents both have a doctor's and a master's degree. Stressed my relationship with my mom a lot, which was bad enough to begin with. My dad, he's too chill to really do anything, but he was always on my mom's side. So it stressed my relationship with both of them. It stressed my relationship with my friends. All I want to do is just sit in bed and sleep or watch Netflix or play video games or World of Warcraft. Oh yeah. And Assassin's Creed. But it just wasn't me. Used to be so active and go out and have fun and see friends all the time, get in trouble for going out too much with my friends, with my parents. It was just awful. And then one night I started having really bad cramps in the ladies' area there. Lower stomach cramps. And which was odd for me because on Mirena I never had a period. And for girls, come on, that sounds amazing, right? Yeah. I had heard that that was a possibility of being on Mirena, that she wouldn't have a period. So I was happy for that. And I never did. I probably did have the time of the month a little, but not much, but like being bitchy. But I never had a period, never had cramps, nothing. And then one night, like the beginning of January, I was having cramps and I was like, this is weird. And I was worried that maybe I had an infection because that was whenever my back started hurting really, really bad. And a lot of girls, when they have their periods, their lower back starts hurting. And I was having cramps and lower back pain, but no discharge. So I was like, okay, maybe I have an infection because the Mirena can cause an infection. And so I Googled it, Mirena side effects, and bam, there everything was from all the women speaking out about how the light just changed dramatically, but about how awful Mirena was for them and all the side effects they had, which were strikingly similar to mine. And I spent like 2 days just reading everything that all these women had to say. Joined the Facebook page, Ban Mirena IUD, all the YouTube videos about women speaking out. That's what made me want to make this one. And on January 16th, 2013, I had the bitch removed. It didn't hurt as bad as the first time of having it put in. And almost immediately, I just felt the cloud that was lifted over my head, over my entire body, just release. And now it's like, what, January? It's not January, it's February. I knew that. Super Bowl was last night. Well, tonight. I didn't really sleep. But it's February 4th, and I had it removed January 16th. And I already feel so much better. I am on no pain medicine anymore. None. Yes. And I'm on none of the Adderall, none of the Provigil, none of the energy stuff. I am on a lot of caffeine because I still do have really bad insomnia, as you could tell, because it's 6 a.m. and I haven't slept tonight. But I did get a first good night's sleep in the longest time last night. And so the insomnia will hopefully get better. I'll start to take my melatonin and everything else all my doctors have prescribed. All natural stuff. Oh, also, whenever I was on Mirena, I was on Ambien for that, to help my sleep, which narcotics, Ambien, and Adderall every single day. So awful. And I just thought I was going to have to be stuck with that the rest of my life. I was so upset all the time. And now I'm getting better, finally. It's not completely better. I still do have pain. I'm just trying not to take the pain medicine because I don't want to have to be dependent on it any longer. Telling that bitch goodbye. Everything else, I'm on caffeine, which also on Mirena, I developed I don't remember what the name is. I think it's called fibrocystic stuff. It's probably not that. There's one word, but there were cysts in my breasts, and it would get worse whenever I had caffeine. But other than that, they were fine. They weren't big enough to be a problem, but it would just start hurting really bad if I had caffeine. But now I can have caffeine and not have any of the pain already. So I can finally be back on my coffee. Yes. I still do get headaches sometimes, but not near as bad as I did on the Mirena. The Mirena, I would just wake up just with the worst headache of my entire life. Mind-numbing headache. I could not move without it just pounding. It was even pounding with me standing still. And I'm on a detox that one of the doctors online recommends. I'll post a link if I can find it. If any of you want it, I'll post the link at least. And I'm on that detox, just basically only eating vegan food, which is a little bit hard because I love beef and chicken and potatoes. They don't let you eat white potatoes on it. And you have to be on protein with it, smoothies for fruit, veggie smoothies even. Sounds delicious, I know, but it helps. Even just being off of it helps. And hopefully in 6 months I'll be 90% better. Right now I would say maybe I'm 10 or 20% better, 25 tops, but even that, it's just a weight lifted off of me. I can finally start to become normal again. And hopefully whenever I'm 21, June 28th, I will be so much better enough I can go out and spend time with friends. I already am starting to see my friends again. To take it slow because I do get exhausted really easily still. But it's a start. And for any of you women out there debating getting Mirena or have it in and love it, I either recommend don't get it. Honestly, I recommend don't get it. Having a foreign object inside of you just seems not normal to me now. And also the copper one, I heard, is pretty bad for you as well. I wouldn't recommend either of them. I was on NuvaRing once as well, which is a little circular disc that you put inside of yourself. I loved it. It did maybe make me a little moody, and it did make me gain a lot of weight. That's why I had to stop it eventually, is because it made me gain weight. I am not on anything right now. I won't be on anything for a long time because I want to get my body back to normal and actually have my first period in like 2 years. I was on it for 1.5 years, by the way. And eventually I may get back on the low hormone pill or something of the sort, but I wanted Mirena so I didn't have to take pills, and yet now I'm taking like 10 pills 3 times a day of natural stuff, just getting it all out of my system. Next week I'm getting to go see our massage therapist, and she's going to do a body wrap on me to help release the toxins, hoping that will help a lot as well. And just starting to get back to myself. But yes, don't get Mirena. And if you do, just be aware that the side effects are not some cold going around or something else common like that. But if it doesn't go away, it's the Mirena. I'm sorry. They even have a lawsuit out for them because they didn't list all the side effects on their pamphlet and on their website, which is what I read before I got it. What my dad even read before I got it. My dad's a doctor. I can't imagine how awful he feels for letting me get that. My mom too. But yes, that is my story for Mirena IUD, intrauterine device. Okay. Have a good day, everybody. I might be going to bed, but other than that, I'll be on World of Warcraft. Okay. Bye, everyone. Feel free to comment below and ask me any questions or for any of the links I mentioned. But I do recommend checking out Ban a Mirena IUD at Facebook. Just Google it. It'll come up, or I'll post the link if you want. Okay. Bye. Have a good day, everybody.